Boy, do I have a treat for you today. I tell you, in a day and age when there's so much anxiety, stress, and there's so much going on with our bodies, our physical and mental, emotional, and spiritual health is probably one of the most important things that we can take care of. But how do you do that? And where do you go? And what are the helps out there? And how do you know who out there can truly give you the right information? Well, I want to introduce you to someone. This is Minerva Huerta, and I have been literally excited about having her work with me on some health issues that I have had. And so I'm excited for you to hear today a little bit about what she does. But more importantly, when we talk about help, sometimes help isn't just the medical field. There is a complementary field, a holistic field that can support and help and assist. And this is probably one of the best practitioners out there that I have found that knows so many different modalities. But what makes her story so intriguing is the fact that she was a biologist and stepped away from that to go into all of these different treatments. And today we're going to find out the rest of the story about why did she make that change. Minerva, I am so excited to have you today, because every time I'm with you, I'm learning different things and we have such riveting conversations. And I thought, people need to hear from you. They need to hear your voice. Let's dig in for a second. I know you've got tons of certifications and continue to get certifications. In fact, I even hear you staying up in the middle of the night to take certifications in Spain. So
yes. Yes, it's just wonderful. Thank you very much for inviting me. It is my pleasure, and it's wonderful every time we talk and every time we have a treatment for you, but we just talk and talk and talk about the body and all these approaches, that it is amazing, to share about that. And then it's just like, yes, I love to study. I love to take classes and certifications on different levels and different things, because I really think that the body is a whole thing. And then it's the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional. And that's why it is so important when you have a situation with any part of your body, the other parts are always going to try to help. And sometimes that is another situations. And those are symptoms that they start appearing and coming to play a big role here.
One of the first things I read maybe 9-10 years ago was a little book called Feelings Buried Alive, Never Die. And it talked about how the body is literally guiding us into what's going on emotionally, spiritually, physically. And if we become a little more in tune with the body, it has some messages for us. And you're one that is able to read the messages of the body incredibly well. But let's go back. Okay, you were a biologist. Tell us about that. And then what brought you into this holistic world?
Yeah, I am biologist. I graduated in Mexico at the university, and it was amazing. I really learned a lot. I was planning to be a marine biologist. And when I start going over that way, it's like, oh, I don't think so. And one of the things that was my passion was pharmacology. And then I started just working with little kids that they had epilepsy. And then I was working with just to see how these medications, how they were working on the body, and how the medication was not working or working too much, and try to adapt that medication or a different one. Then was something that with the time I start noticing this is not healing. It's just masking the symptoms. And then, yes, they don't feel it, but the situation is still there. If they stop taking it, it's just that is going to be something different. Then I start just like, no, this is not the way I was working with since babies, newborn babies, until they were like 16, 17 years old, the kids. And it's like, no, 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 this is not what I want. Then I start just going to another route because I was just trying to find exactly what I want to do, something that I have. My son was born, it was a baby, and then I went to the cosmetology, the esthetician. I am a master esthetician. And I start just noticing that doesn't matter what kind of cream you put on, what kind of treatment you do to your body. If your body is not healthy, your skin is going to show it, and then I start just going through all these other therapies like lymphatic massage, that it is the sewer of your body, cleaning your body, that it is extremely important. Till now, we don't give enough importance on that. And in Europe, it is more common. You say to somebody, do you have your lymphatic massage? And they're like, they know what you're talking about. And here is not. It's so sad that, even doctors is like, well, maybe you want to do it, but it is so important, before surgeries, after surgeries, things like that. That is really important. Then I start just going on with other therapies like cranial, working with the bones on the head, we're working with the organs on the body, working with the emotions, working with the reflexology. They are all complementing each other. And this is not instead of, it is complementing each other. It's just like building a house. You are just using everything. Like the reflexology really helps you with the energy, but if you don't have the organs working or in the correct positions, it's just going to take longer, things like that. But that's exactly how now I am using all the science that I took in biology, applying to this, and I love it. It's just really fascinating.
So when you were talking like the cranial, you're working on the bones and the organs. For those who aren't familiar with cranial sacral, describe what working on the organs means.
Well, working craniosacral, it is working. Let me show you something here. This is the bones on the head. These bones on the head, they have little sutures that they are unions between the bones on the head. And these sutures, they have to be having a little movement to be able to help the brain to release toxicity, to oxygenize, to nourish. And when this is locked by accidents, by surgeries, by bad posture, by a lot of stress, that the muscles are getting tight on all these bones, and then this is not moving. Even with dental work, all that dental work, all that braces, all that is affecting other bones, and then start having headaches, and then this is going to be working on the head at the level of helping the bones to be in the correct movement, that it is almost imperceptible, even working with the mouth and helping that this movement is going all the spine and having all that movement, that it is going to be able to relax the nervous system. It is just going to help with a lot of issues like insomnia, anxiety, depression, you name it. And you were talking about working with the organs. Working with the organs is a different one. It is just this guy here that we can see all the organs are connected. And when we have surgeries, when we have accidents, those organs and positions are altered, and those are able to work on, and those are able to release all that tension inside. That sometimes is the combination with the head and the the abdomen, or the, for a surgery, for a C-section, all that is creating something that when the time passes, instead of just disappearing, increase, that creates a scar tissue that starts creating the scar tissue being thicker. And that is going to affect what I was talking at the beginning, the lymphatic system, that it is not going to clean perfectly, that is not going to allow that organs to have the right movement, because the organs, they have to be able to dance with each other. But dancing with somebody that doesn't know how to dance is just stepping on your toes. And that's what happened with the organs. Then we start having a pain here or a pain there, and it's not other than the organ is not aligned, is not dancing correctly, just to make it a little easier to understand.
You'd actually be manually manipulating them at times. And then
Absolutely.
I know that energy, you could feel the stuck energy around something. And I know I stepped into the cranial world, 9 years ago, and learning about energy shifts, and just learning about energy to me was like, I don't know. I was like, what? Everybody else knows about this and I don't. It was like stepping into a different world. And there's fear wrapped around the energy world, but we're all energy, right? Everything is made up of energy, and therefore you see the science behind all of this. But I know I was very grateful. I broke my wrist and my ankle, and so I was grateful for the surgeon who was able to put that back together. And then I was grateful for you that was able to get the blood flowing, the energy flowing, the heaviness. You were literally pulling pain off of my ankle. And when there was all that pain in there, the body can't heal when it's in pain, right?
Exactly. What is happening here is that when we get any trauma, and could be physical, could be emotional, could be energetic, any trauma is like, that's why when we receive a bad news or something, what do we do? Like, we receive that. And I say it's like putting iron in a surface and it's hot. If that iron stayed longer there, it's going to go even all the way down. It's going to trespass because it's so hot. The same happened with a surgery, with anything. You are creating an alteration, a trauma that is creating heat. That heat, it is energy, that it is stagnant. Dr. Jean-Pierre Barral, that it is one of the main doctors working with this visceral manipulation. He is in France, and he says any pain is a stagnation. Could be blood, could be lymphatics, could be energy, could be any kind of a stagnation that we need to make that to flow. If that is not flowing, it's the same like the iron there. If we take that out easily, it is going to be able to release, allow the body to heal faster. And this is not magic, it's physics. What do you do when you have a hot coffee, a hot tea, whatever you are drinking? If you want to drink like that, well, it's up to you. But if you take it like that, it's going to burn. It's hot. It is changing, altering. It's a trauma in your mouth. But anyway, this hot beverage, if you don't like that heat, what do? You just release and change that, put it, take it, that heat out, and then the temperature is going to be the way that you want. Is exactly the same. And another thing, you were talking about the energy. A lot of people is just like, woo, energy, woo, that doesn't exist. Then explain to me what happened when you turn like the oven or the fire, whatever, and you get close. what do you feel? The heat. The heat is energy, is vibration. That is what you are feeling. And exactly that's what I do. It's not a magic thing. I have trained my hands to feel that in the body. Where is that heat? Where is that stagnation? Where is exactly the same like, people that they are tasting wines. With the tongue, they can tell you. It's not woo-woo thing. They are learning how they taste. What is that? And they can tell you in that year, this is good, this is whatever. The same, this is trained. Another thing about the energy. What is energy? We go back to science. I always try to go back to science because I like to understand exactly what it is happening. It's just the atom. The atom has the nucleus and has the electrons outside. And how fast these electrons, they move is how heat you are going to feel it. Then if this is just like really slow, you are able to go closer because it's cooler, but it is moving, so it's just like you cannot be, and that is what you feel, the energy in some things. It's just like the heat. That is energy. It's the movement of the electrons. It's nothing magic. It's science.
It's totally science.
Exactly.
And the electrocephalogram and all these different scientific things that could read the body, it's reading the energy, it's reading the frequency and the vibration. And how do we swipe a phone if we don't have electricity? We are electrical and chemical bodies. In fact, it's funny. I know kids get a kick out of. I do teen retreats and things, and I don't know if you've ever seen a sci-fi tube, and everybody joins their hands, and then when you're together, then the little lights go on. It's like, how can we do that if we're not obviously we're a good conduit for it, but a lot of practitioners that do holistic, they're very good. I almost call them electricians because they know where to find the energy that is stuck or not flowing. And really, we owe a lot to Eastern medicine. And for those maybe who are not familiar with Eastern, I think it's beautiful to have the West and the East when there's a blend of that. And that's kind of what you're talking about, right?
Absolutely. That is exactly what it is. It's nothing. It's just a complementing everything. That's why I call complementary, because it's not instead of. And another thing that what I like about this procedure is that I am not healing the person. The person is healing by itself with the power of the whatever divinity they believe. It is so important that they allow the body to heal. If they have that iron over their stuck, that is going to be so hard to be able to heal. Then what is it helping? To find the homeostasis in the body, that everything is dancing at the rhythm. And then that movement is going to allow to be clean, to be nourished, to be oxygenized, and that is going to create the healing. Not the person that it is touching magically, it's just helping the body. And that is another thing that people is like, who needs this? Who doesn't? Living in this world that we are so stressed and we don't eat properly, we don't sleep enough, then we need to help. We are totally normally going for cleaning our houses in a spring or whatever. The car needs a tune-up, everything. And the body, when do we do tune-ups to the body? And that is going into prevention instead of waiting until I am totally broken because it's going to take more time, more money. And then prevention is going to keep our bodies functioning the way that they have to be. It's recuperating the power of the body, that the body is the one that is going to be doing, what they have to do, what is capable of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is returning the power to the body. I have loved having lymphatic massages from you because, in fact, you just called it a minute ago, something I'd never heard it called the sewer system of the body, but it truly is that. And for those who aren't familiar with the lymphatics, we have them in the armpit, all over the body, right? Different places, but it's moving all the toxicities so that it can be eliminated through is it like the sweat glands and the urine? I mean, how does the body eliminate?
Well, we had several ways to eliminate, and some are like the breathing. It is so important because we use the diaphragm, and that moves and start just pumping that vessels. The diaphragm, it is so important because it's like the same like the pump in the bathroom. That you need to do it. And then if you are doing it just like breathing really soft, it's the same like putting the pump and doing like so soft. Nothing is going to happen. But if you really want to clean the toilet, you just push, pull, push, pull. And the same is just like the breathing has to be hard, intense, and really moving that diaphragm. Another way to release it is the digestive tract, that you are going to the bathroom and release it. All your kidneys are working. The skin is a big way to release it, and that is sweating. That's why exercise is important. And those are some of the ways that our body is releasing it. It's just going through using all the elimination organs like kidneys, liver, spleen, digestive tract. All that is going to be contributing to feel, to release that. That's why it's so important that all those detoxification organs are open and clean before we do a detoxification. A lot of us, we just take pills and do whatever, and we feel nauseated and we feel dizzy. And we think, oh, it's because I am detoxifying. No, you're releasing everything, but if it's no way to go out, it's just like reabsorbing and you feel, oh, horrible, and then you reabsorb everything. Then that is important to have all that organs to check and to do the visceral manipulation, doing a lymphatic, doing all these techniques are going to help the body to be able to eliminate in a better way.
I just did a brain webinar, and one of the biggest things, of course, is the gut-brain connection. So if the gut isn't happy, the brain isn't happy, the body isn't happy. So all of this dis-ease in our lives, really a lot generates from the gut. But you talked about detoxifying the liver and the kidney. What are some things that you could do to help cleanse those so that they can start helping us detoxify our body?
To be able for the liver to eliminate, to move, they have to be having a movement. And that movement, if it's a scar tissue, is a lot of tension there, that it is really not moving, it is not able to do it. Then the visceral manipulation really helps to drain the little conducts of the liver, that they are going to help everything flow, everything move in a better way. And then when you do anything or your body wants to detoxify, it is possible to do it. It's not overload and toxic and not able to release it. That's the way that it is.
When people come to you for treatments, what are some of the treatments that you offer, and what are some of the successes that you've seen because of them?
I don't offer treatments to people. What I do, the way that I like to work, is just asking the body, like I was talking at the beginning. It's just like checking the body, what the body needs, what the body requires first. It is cranial, it is visceral, is lymphatic, is reflexology, is emotion. Whatever the body needs is what I perform. Then, because the other way could be like, oh, because I know how to do cranial, I'm going to do cranial on you. Because I know how to do this, I'm going to do, you need it or not. And then the way that I do it, and it is just like, maybe I start with cranial, but in that moment, the lymphatics open, I continue with the lymphatics, and then I go back to cranial, or visceral start moving. I go and support that. And then it's just a back and forth depending what it is needed. And the success stories that you were asking me about, they are so many. Really, they are so many. Right now, I got one that was a girl, a lady that she called me. She had a horrible accident. She was smashed into her car. She has been having several MRIs, X-rays, and whatever. Her vision was double. She was dizzy. She was not able to eat because the whole body was really in a bad shape. Then she came and she's like, I need something to help my body. What she said is just like, I want somebody to cuddle my body. That's what she was looking for. It's just like, reflexology, whatever. And then I start just looking, and the first thing that was guiding me was cranial. I work a lot in cranial. The bones, they were not stabilized. They were just a little stuck. I work with that. I flush the lymphatic on the brain. And when she stands, she says, oh my goodness, they turn the lights on. Everything, she says, is so bright. Everything is, I can see. And she was just like, another thing that she was saying is just, I can breathe. She was not able to breathe deeply because she was smashed. And then some parts of the organs, like the pleura for the lungs, that is the protection, the recovering that, when it is smashed, it's just like sometimes get too tight and not allowing the organ to move for protection. The body always protects the body. Is not doing it just to be mean to you. You know what I mean? It's just like helping you. But sometimes it's too much help, and then just restrict the movement of the organ. And when that happens, it's just like, takes time for that organs to start recuperating. And she has been just treated with medications for pain, not feeling the pain, and that is creating a lot more stagnation in the liver, whatever. It's just too many things. But by working on the lungs, she was able to breathe better. She started just having a lot more oxygen in her brain. And after working on the skull, it just was a big difference. And then she was able to walk, and then like more evenly. Her sister, then later she was born with a deficiency, and she started walking better, communicating better. It's just like, I can tell you a lot.
I'm sure you can, because I feel like I've received so much when I go in there. I mean, I'll walk in and you'll even say, where's your energy? And you can tell that I'm totally drained. And it's like you're able to move things around and get things flowing, and you feel re-energized. I do want the listeners to understand that there are good practitioners, and then there's some that aren't quite as good. And I think that's some of the fear out there. I mean, I'll just say it right now. A lot of people are like, well, wait a minute, how do you trust someone working on your body? And what advice would you have on how do you find a practitioner? Because I mean, I won't let anybody work on me. And that's why I travel to come and see you, because of your credibility and the results that you've been able to do, and the fact that you even have pro basketball league that brings you in to work on their key players because they see the difference that you can make in their body, their performance, their psyche. So many things that you can do. So how does someone go out there and find someone?
I will just tell, look for the credentials. It is so important. This is, yes, it's a lot of inspiration. Yes, it's a lot of connection, spiritual connection, but look for credentials, because it's just a lot of people that they have been taking one class or two classes and they feel like they know everything. This is really important to know how to work with the organs. As you can help, you can hurt people. It's just, even with the reflexology, when I have to renew my license and everything. And one time I went to renew my license and they put a girl to practice on me, that was a beginner. I was not able to walk for 3 days. I was just in so much pain. It just twisted my ankle. And in the moment, I didn't really feel that, but was just extremely bad movement that you can say, well, it's nothing. But yeah, it's just look for credentials, people that they have been studying and know what they are doing, not just took one class and they are trying to do lymphedema. That means like a big problems with lymphatics, and because they can't create more problems. You know what I mean? It is something to take seriously. And that's exactly why I love to take, I've been spending a lot of money in classes, because I want to go and look exactly what it is. What is the specificity? Because this is exactly what it is to be specific in what you are going to work. And that's when you can't start working with all the techniques together. That's the way that I will do it, because the same, I will not allow anybody that I don't trust or, to work on my body.
And I know the way I found you was obviously referrals.
Thank you.
Those that had been to you and trusted you, just like you would go to a medical doctor that has lots of good referrals. So, and I think that's what makes your treatment so valuable. Like you said, so many different things and you react to the body. You're reading the body. Are there any conditions where someone would maybe not use a holistic treatment?
When you are like cancer, to say so, it's just like lymphatics in cancer is not recommended. Why? Because you can spread the cancer faster, but in the case that it is terminal, it is nothing else is not working, then you do some lymphatics, and sometimes just reopening that works. But that has to be with the consentment of the person and telling them this is what is happening. It's your decision, this can be like this or like that. And what other things? People like doing visceral work with on a pregnant woman is really has to be extremely high skilled person. It's just like cranial, doing advanced cranial, the same. It's like if it's inflammation on the brain, if it's just like, no, you know what I mean? That's why it has to be somebody that knows, not just taking one class or whatever. It's just really knowing what they are doing.
And I've used lots of other holistic treatments. One that I absolutely love is a gentleman who's a sports therapist, but he re-engages the muscles. So the brain and the muscle is not communicating. So it's not supporting the body. And so I go in there and he helps my son who has kyphosis and lordosis, and he re-engages some of those muscles and he walks out with this straight back. It's really amazing. Or I'm not able to do the push-ups that I could, and then only to find out I had 3 muscles in my arm that my brain wasn't able to communicate with, and then I am. And so I think a lot of people say, oh, how could that be? But once you experience it, that's the thing. Once you experience it and you see the benefit from it, how can you deny it? How can you truly deny it? What are some key insights or some things that you want them to know about complementary treatments?
What I will say is just like, is the easiest way to be healthier, is the easiest way to prevent, later situations. All of us, we are exposed to stress. All of us, we are exposed to pesticides, and even eating organic is not totally the same like it was many years ago. I will suggest just try it. Just keep your body having a tune-ups regularly. Just help you to reduce the stress, help you to manage that, because it's not taking pills what is going to help you. It's just avoiding. Retake the power on you to be able to give the power to your body to do what it's capable to do. It's capable to heal, it's capable to regenerate tissue. And Roseanne, that the broken bone, how important is that? But if you are healthier, even that happen, you're going to be able to do it in the best way instead of having other issues.
And I love that. It is about giving the power back to the body and allowing. Exactly. And I almost think of you as like this holistic facilitator, because you facilitate the body, help it get back aligned into homeostasis so it can do what it knows how to do instinctually. But because of trauma, like you said, trauma or injury or stress, those things, it just pulls our body out of whack. I know we're ending here, but I have to go back to your father was really disappointed that you didn't stay in biology. And he wasn't really a believer until he had some dental work. Can you tell that story?
Yes, it was just really powerful. He had a dental work, they pulled a tooth, and next day he was just, one eye was just really like was like a dripping. It just like really, and he was in so much pain that he was shaking. He was just like, and was not the mouth, was the eye that's in pain. And I was just like, oh my goodness, they just did something to the nerve. And then 87 years old, and they were just like, oh my goodness, and with a lot of other issues. And I called the doctor, they came, they visit, they just medications. Anyway, to make this long story short, they gave him even morphine. Nothing cut the pain, was not releasing. And he was like 2 days, like really shaking, and he was not able to sleep. And then I know it is not recommended to do like the cranial work when it is inflammation, but because I saw it's not working, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And then I did like 10 minutes, working with the bones, aligning the bones on the eye and things like that. Just the recuperation was amazing. And then he was like, no, continue doing it. Do it. And I say, no, I need to wait. What is going to happen? Then at night, I did a little bit more, and he was able to sleep and just not need any painkillers, nothing. Next day in the morning, I work a little bit more. That's it. And he was totally a believer, because he was just like, at the beginning was telling me, this is not science, this is other things. When I started explaining to him, like, this is physics, this is anatomy, this is so much more, then after that, he was just like, do it to me, everything. And then, but it was a great success story. And the doctors, they didn't understand what happened. He was in so much pain, and suddenly he's gone. It's just like, that's what it is. It's just like the bones, they were pinching a nerve. And that was because he was opening the mouth too big. It was not the dog's fault. It's just he was elderly. He was just not elastic, the mouth, the bones, things like that we need to consider when we do anything like that.
Well, I just love that story because I think you said that he kind of fought you on kind of a career change.
Yes.
And then isn't that the way the universe does it though? Sometimes, they take us to a cliff before they push us off. For him to become a believer, he had to be in a lot of pain and see what you could do for him and the science behind these holistic treatments.
Thank you very much, Roseanne. I'm so happy to be here and to be able to tell everybody how it is still, ways to help yourself. And they are ways that you can learn to start listening to your own body, when your body is getting and needs something. It is so important that we recuperate that power, that it is not telling you, no, don't feel it. No, you don't feel that pain. That is not feeling, or you are not, or just take antidepressants because I don't think you have that. You know better than you. Listen to yourself. You just trust you, and then you are going to be able to do it.
I love what you just said because it's so much power in that. The body is speaking to us, and sometimes it yells at us because it's really wanting to get our attention. And when we numb out or we take a pain reliever that, just kind of ignores it, we aren't getting down to the root. How can people find you? I know you're in Salt Lake and I know how to find you, but how can others find you if they're lucky enough to come and lay on your table? How would they find you?
Just called Beyond Reflexology here in Salt Lake City. We are in Murray. We have the Instagram and Facebook. Then just call us, and the phone number is 801-266-4366. Then just let us know, and we love to help you feel better.
Truly, I have loved coming to you and benefiting from that, but also our conversations. I learn so much from you when I come because we really talk about the body, the mind-body connection, how all of this plays together. I'm so grateful for Western medicine, but when we can use complementary treatments, it not only accelerates it, but I feel like it takes it to a level it can't get there on its own. And so grateful for facilitators, therapists like you that are dedicating your time and your energy and your study and your sleep to be able to learn all the things to be able to help all of us. So you are a treat, Minerva. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
See you soon.
Tally ho.